Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
We're going to start in a minute.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
How do we access these recordings?
Now, my first week was very, very hectic, me being sick, stuff like that.
Right.
But I'll be posting them on my YouTube channel, and I give you the link on Brightspace as an announcement.
Okay, you haven't done that yet, but you will.
Yeah, I will do it. I will be starting maybe today or tomorrow. The whole last week I was sick, really sick.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
But it's going to be labeled. Each section, each recording going to be labeled with the dates. Okay, with the date, and then the link will be posted on Brightspace.
Okay, great. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling better now. All right, so last time, we saw the complex numbers, right? So, we saw the complex numbers right before we saw the quadratic equations, okay? So for a reason. So today, we're gonna see an overview of the quadratic equations and understand, it's kind of like a review, but we will go over the methods. Some method we have seen before in O83. So, and that's going to be like in the textbook. It is like 1.4. So quadratic equations. So basically, in general, is any equation of the form ax squared, right, plus bx plus c equals 0, okay? So this is the general form of a quadratic equation. And the number a here, so the name quadratic comes from what term? What term make us call this stuff quadratic?
4.
No, it's not 4. It's about the power, the exponent 2.
Oh, squared.
X squared, quadratic, right? Quadratic equation, it comes from the x squared. So that is why the a cannot be equal to 0, right? The a cannot be 0, because if the a is 0, then it is not quadratic anymore, right? Okay, and we're gonna go like over some steps. The first step we learn in college algebra is solving by factoring, right? That is the first step we have learned in college algebra. But this method of solving by factoring only works when the example is a nice one. When I say nice one, is an example that we can factor easily, right? Okay, so it is an opportunity method, okay, basically. It isn't like, a method that you can utilize like every single time. No. Okay. For instance, we say solve x squared plus 5x equal to 6, right? You see, solving by factoring means I have to try to factor. But do you recall, before you factor, what you have to do first? Somebody tells me.
Equal by 0.
Exactly. If your intention is to use the factoring method, you have to have 0 on one side. Okay? If this is what you intend to do, you have to have 0 on one side. So get 0 on one side. So minus 6, so we get x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Then we try to factor. Now, everybody in this class, do you remember how we used to factor this type of expressions? Do you remember that?
Yeah, you take the sum of the two numbers equals the middle one, and then the outer one is what they multiply to.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Carl. So basically, you are looking for two numbers whose sum is 5 and whose product is negative 6.
2 and 3.
You said 2 and 3?
Yes.
Exactly 2 and 3 or what? What is the exact number you're thinking about?
I think 2 and well, -2 and +3.
Okay, -2 and +3. Okay,
Why
that is a
not
problem.
5 and -1?
Okay, so
I
that
mean
is a
6
problem.
and
So,
-1.
yes. So you see, so the thing is we don't rush, right? You know, whatever number we propose, we make sure they are the good ones, right? Okay, if you say 2 and 3 and -2, okay, the product is good, but the sum is not good, right?
Yes.
You see, and then we go to 6 and -1. 6 times -1 is -6, and 6 plus -1 is positive 5. That is good, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we just don't rush, you know. But everybody in this class, remember that method, please? If you don't remember it, you have to tell me. So this is x plus 6, x minus 1 equals 0, right? And then we set each parenthesis to 0, right? Because now we have equal 0. We're going to set each parenthesis to 0. So we get x plus 6 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. So we get x equal -6 or x equal +1. Okay, so that is a quick review of solving by factoring. Of course, this is 163. We have to progress. So we will not dwell on that. This is just a review, okay? That is the very first method. So now we have some examples which are harder to factor, okay? For instance, solve by factoring. If we say 3x squared plus 15x plus 5. And here we say solve by factoring. Basically, we are not given any other choice. We are not given the choice of the method. We are said to do it by factoring, right? So do you recall what method here we have to use to factor this? What was the name of that method?
Oh
Somebody
no,
remember?
but I know what you do.
Okay, you know what you do, but you don't know the name. Okay, so just to reassure you, that method has a lot of names, by the way, okay? But one of the names is, somebody?
X plus B.
X.
The AC.
I
Oh,
simply
AC
would have to
method.
say the quadratic formula.
I mean, the quadratic formula is something we're going to do next. But here's the factoring method is one of the methods that we that we see in 083 is called the AC method, right? Okay, so again, because I don't want people to try to factor every single time, we're just going to do one example, okay, just to refresh memories about that. We will not do like 2 examples, we will not do 3 examples, just one example, okay? This one just we see here. Because I don't want you in this class of 163 to try to factor every single example. No, factoring is an opportunity method, right? Okay, so now, if you remember how the AC method used to go, I think you said, Carl, you said you remember that. What to do first?
Well, you take A and multiply it by C.
Exactly.
And then
5.
and then you take you do the same thing that you did with the middle number with B that you did with the original.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We're going to look at for two numbers that add up to 15, add up to 16 and multiply to 15. What are they?
1 and 15.
1 and 15, right? That is the AC method, everybody. You know, that is the method I just did today with my OED3 class, right before your class. You know, 1 hour ago, I was doing this, you know. So we do what? And we do 3x squared. We're going to break down these two using these two numbers, 15 and 1, plus 15x plus 1x plus 5 equals 0. And now we're gonna factor them by what?
Grouping?
By grouping. Thank you. 2 by 2. The first one is 3x parentheses x plus 5. And here, the only stuff I can factor out is 1. 1 parentheses x plus 5 equals 0. So we get finally x plus 5 parentheses 3x plus 1 equals 0, right? And that is my factoring. This
Sir,
is that, yes?
I have extra idea and it's simple. It's like simple than this one.
You got?
I got another idea, but it's like, it's easier than this one.
Yes, so another way to do the AC method, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. You know, we have a lot of shortcuts, but as a teachers, we like to teach this way to do it without a shortcut. You know, in math you have shortcut, right?
So
But sometimes
you don't
yes.
mind if I use mine?
Yeah. You can use a shortcut stuff, but sometimes we like to use this type of steps because they will help you in some other context, right? Not only this context, but we always have some methods. You know, for instance, myself, I can look at this. I can try to figure out what is a factoring, right? What is the last step? But you know, we always like to try to teach this way right here, okay? But you know, I don't mind if you use the way, because this is not O83. If it was O83, I would ask you to do the steps like that, okay? Okay, so now we finish by doing setting each parenthesis to 0, x plus 5 equals 0, or 3x plus 1 equals 0. So we get x equal -5 or x equal -1/3, right? Okay, this is solving by factoring. Again, why we cannot rely only on the factoring method? Why?
Because it works in specific situations.
Exactly. It only works in very, very specific situations, right? If I give randomly an example of a quadratic equation without thinking about the numbers, it will be very, very hardly factorable, right? So that is why we need to come up with some other methods. And one of the method is, for some of the particular stuff, is the square root property. If x squared is equal to c, if we apply square root on both sides, right, what we get? We get x equal to square root of c or negative square root of c, right? Which we write, or we can write x equal to plus or minus square root of c. Okay? X equal to plus or minus square root of c. Every time you have a quadratic equation, it's going to involve very likely two solutions, right? So again, where does this come from? Where the two solutions come from? It comes from this. When you apply, just for the comment right here, you see, when you say square root of, you say x squared is equal to c, right? You say you have to apply square root on both sides. You put square root here, which we have right to do that, you could square root here. But where from this, I get two solutions. Can somebody tell me where they come from? When I look at this, okay, here, the square root and the square, what they do to each other? On the left side. Do they always cancel each other in this case? This is a trick. In this case, where the square is inside, they don't actually always cancel each other. The answer here is, if you want the true math, formula for this one, they don't cancel each other. What they do? This one becomes, it either, you have two ways, it's either x or negative x. Okay?
Yes, because not every x squared, that means it's positive. It might be
Exactly, thank
negative.
you very much, Alia. Because x squared can be positive, but x be negative, right? That is why here in this case, the square root and the square, they don't actually cancel each other exactly. It depends. When the x is negative, they don't cancel each other. That is why it's either x or negative x. That is why you get is either x equals square root of c or negative x is square root of c, which means here x equal to negative root of c. This is where this comes from, right? Okay, but we don't have to worry about that. We just remember every time you have x squared equal to a number, you're gonna always have two solutions, right? What you do actually, if you have, let's see examples. If you have this, x squared is equal to 7. What I do in practice, I do this. I do square root. What I don't forget to put?
Positive and negative.
Plus or minus. Please do that, right? Square root, and then you don't forget plus or minus. If you don't put plus or minus, you are just giving me one solution. You are forgetting the other one, right? So we get x equal what? Get x equal to plus or minus square root of 7. Or you can write x equal to root of 7 or negative root of 7. Okay? So that is, again, this is a particular type of equations, right, that we solve this way. So now, if we keep going, if you have this, 9x squared okay. You see here, this type of equations. How many times I see x in this equation? I see x only one time. I just see x squared. I don't see x nowhere else. Which means here, this equation right here, I have to get x squared by itself, right?
Yeah.
And then apply the square roots on both sides. Don't forget plus or minus. This is the two steps right here. My first step here is isolate x squared. Go ahead. Do whatever you need to do to isolate x squared.
Done.
Right, so to get x squared by itself, what do you do first?
You subtract 35 from 10.
You subtract 35 on both
Divided by
sides, right?
9.
Exactly, and then divide by, so we
9.
get 9x squared is equal to negative 25, and then we divide by 9, right?
Yeah.
So we get x squared is equal to
Minus
negative
25
25 over
over 9.
9. Now second,
Why
Okay.
why didn't we square square root it first?
from here,
side.
from what step? Square root from where? From the very first step or from here? From 9
No,
squared
from the
equals-
9x squared equals negative 25.
you could, but it's not safe. You know, it's not safe to do that because you're going to be prompt to do mistakes. But you could, okay? You see, the only stage we cannot take the square root is the very first stage, right? But after you get 9x squared, of course you can square root both sides. But I would not advise you that because then it's very easy to do a mistake afterward, okay? So it's
But we
safer
have
to
to
do it
put the
this way.
x. We have to put the x alone first before we take the square root.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not, you know, what Carl's saying is we can square root from here. I agree with that, but I said you can do mistakes if you don't master algebra very well, right? So for a students, like for a regular students, it's safer to get x squared alone. It's safer, right? To avoid mistakes. So here, what you do now, apply squares on both sides and put plus or minus. We get square root of x squared equal to square root of negative 25 over 9. And don't forget plus or minus. Don't forget that. Okay? And that's it. So we get x equal to what? X equal to
Plus or minus 5 over 3.
You see, we will never leave. We don't leave squares of a negative number without writing an I. We don't leave it like that, okay? It'll
Yeah.
be 5 over 3I, right? I mean, you can write I first. You can write I 5 over 3, but it's not nice, okay? All right. So everybody try to do this one, this example right here. Okay, so if we go with that example right here. You see right here? That is a brand new example right there. If I look at this, I might think, oh, this is different from what we did before. But is it really different? That is the question.
No.
It's not really different.
It
As
doesn't
long
need a
as
square.
we see it as square, I really don't care what is inside the square, but I see it as a square minus a number equal to another number. You see? That is exactly something that looks like this. You see? It really does. Now, what is a very bad idea? Not wrong, but bad idea for this type of problems. A very bad idea is to break down the parentheses. It's not wrong. I mean, if you like algebra so much, you can do that. But this is a bad idea for this type of examples. Okay?
Okay.
So let me write it down. Bad idea is to break down the parentheses. I'm not saying wrong. But I'm saying you're gonna waste your time, you're gonna waste your energy, and maybe you're gonna do a couple of mistakes, right? So I will not advise you that. Basically, we're gonna do the same steps that we did before. We're gonna get the square by itself. Exactly what we did before, okay? So what is a good idea? A good idea is to get the squares by themselves. Isolate, you see, first what you do, isolate the square, right? Get it by itself. Of course, here to do that, what you have to add on both sides?
Add the 4. 4.
Add the 4 on both sides, that's it. We do 4 here, we do 4. So we get x minus 3 all squared is equal to what?
6.
6. After we get that, now what comes next now? Apply on both sides, what?
Square root.
Square root on both sides, that's it. You see, the second step will be to apply square root on both sides. And we don't forget what?
Plus minus the root.
Plus or minus, right? So it's going to be square root right here. If I put square root right here, square root right here, and then plus or minus, I'm going to get x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus square root of 6.
Now I have to put the x alone.
You see, the only difference here is here, I don't have the x alone yet, right?
Yes.
You see, on the other example, after applying the square root, I have the x by itself pretty much. But here, after applying the square roots, I don't have x by itself yet. I need to add what number on both sides? I need to add 3, right? So here, solve for x. So we add 3 on both sides. Remember, so look here, you are free to add, put 3 here or put 3 here. You are free.
Put it
Okay?
in the beginning is better.
Yeah, it's always better. I mean, not always, but you know, it's kind of nicer. Okay? So you get x equal to 3 plus or minus squares of 6. If you are doing my open math and they give you 2 boxes to put the numbers in, what number? I mean, if you are doing Alex and they give you 2 boxes to put the number, what is the first number?
3 minus square 6.
3 minus squares of 6, and this one is 3 plus
3 plus square.
6. Yeah. Okay. So just you know, before we move on, can you tell me what are these 2 numbers right here? If you have this, before we move on, right? If you have this, x equal to x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus 9. Can you give me the values of x here?
5 minus
I mean, don't rush,
square.
don't rush. I mean, I want everybody to do that by themselves. I see what numbers of what values of x they get.
Would it be x plus 13 and or x minus 4?
You see, I mean, you're kind of rushing. Okay, so well, write solve for x and give me the exact values for the x. I want everybody to do that, you know, for like 10 seconds, you know, because this will happen a lot for this type of examples. Okay.
It will be 14 and minus 4.
Positive. So what you get? What you do to get x by itself anyway?
Add 5 to both
We add
sides.
5, right? We get x equal to 5 plus or minus 9, right? The plus will give you 5 plus 9 is how much?
14.
14. And the minus gives you 5 minus 9 is
Minus 4.
negative 4, right? Okay. In case you have something like that. So now let me give you these 2 examples that you're going to do by yourself, everybody. I'm going to let you like, you know, some good minutes about it. Okay. So solve All right, you have like some 5 minutes, everybody. Try to do all these problems, from beginning to the end, please. Don't break down the parentheses. If you break down the parentheses, it's just gonna give you more trouble. All right. It's good. We're gonna wait about like maybe 1 more minute. We're gonna go over the steps.
I got a question about the first one.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't want to say it until you're ready to go over it because it's like at the end.
Yeah, we about to go over them anyway. So you can go ahead and tell me the steps, what you did first.
Okay, so first I went and I subtracted the 20.
Yep.
And that gave me -16. So then I had to do the square root on each side.
Yep. That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And then I got 2x minus 1 equals plus or minus 4i.
Thank you very much. You see, you put plus or minus here, plus or minus 4i. That's correct. Yep.
And then I added 1.
Yep. You add 1.
So then I got 1 plus or minus 4i.
Yep.
And then I divided by 2. So I just did the whole thing over 2, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to, like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. That's
Oh,
a
okay,
final
so
answer.
never mind.
No, that's that's very, very good job right there. You see. So
So
yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but my answer was like minus and plus 2i plus 1/2. Is it possible to divide it by
Yeah,
2?
yeah. Break it down further. You can break it down further, but you know, for this type of example, we can leave it like that. Okay, to put it that way. So you can go ahead and divide everybody by. I mean, so separate that. So basically, what you did earlier is to say 1 plus 4i divided by 2 divided by 2, right? And 1 minus 4i divided by 2 divided by 2. But you can leave it this way. You can leave it like that. 1/2 plus 2i and 1/2 minus 2i, okay, which is also, you know, a good way to put it down, the final answer. But this is also a good final answer also. Both of them are good final answers, okay?
So typically, do you want it broken all the way down?
No, 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 it doesn't
No.
matter. You see, if you're doing some type of automated assignments, right? Where maybe they give you like, you know, some boxes, you know, to put something like that. Okay, if they put, some of them, they give you this. Okay, some of the, for instance, Alex can give you something to put your answers this way, okay? You see here, they give you boxes, right? And you have to fill up the boxes. What is the first here? Then you have to divide. You see, you have to break it down. So 1/2. And here 4/2, okay? Which is 2, by the way. 1/2 here minus 4/2. But me in my test, I'm very content with this answer right here, okay? All right, thank you very much. All right, so and the next one, what's the steps in the next one?
We add 1 to the
You add 1 to both sides. So 5x plus 7 squared is equal to 10. All right? Take square roots plus or minus. So we get 5x plus 7 is equal to plus or minus square root of 10. And then we have to subtract 7 on both sides, right? So we get 5x equal to -7 plus or minus root of 10, and then divide by 5. See? All right, so
Could you
this
break
is,
that down? Oh, could you break that 10 down and take 2 and 5 and put the 2 with the 7?
nah, I mean, that's now becomes like, you know, some type of arithmetic gymnastics. So we could do that, but since it will not lead to any major simplification, we leave it like that, okay? And on the test, you know, unless, I'm telling you something, unless on the test, we ask you explicitly to simplify your answer. If you don't ask you that explicitly on my test, if you decide to simplify, which I will appreciate, of course, because it's always good to see a student who does the simplifications, but make sure always you do it right, okay? When you simplify, make sure always you simplify correctly. All right, so, okay, the next method that, you see, this method works very well, but still the example has to be of the same type. We have another method that works every single time, but sometimes not very, very friendly, which is completing the square method. Completing the square. Okay, look, if you do remember, if you have complete to perfect square, again, this is just like a review, you know, complete to perfect square. If you have x squared plus 16x, what number is missing here to make it a perfect square? Do somebody remember the rule?
8.
Yeah, I hear the right number, 8, but is 8 what?
Negative 8?
No, it's going to involve 8, but what we have to do is 8 to make up that number.
Oh,
We
what?
have to do the 8.
4.
What we have to do to the 8. The 8 is good, but what we have to do to it to make a perfect square?
Square
We
it?
have to square it. Thank you.
That's 64.
64. Everybody remember that rule? The
Yeah.
half of the middle number square. If you want to make it a perfect square, you take the half of the middle number, you square that number. But this only works. What number you see in front of x squared? What number is in front of x squared?
1.
1. What we are about to write only works if the number in front of the x squared is 1, right? So here, the missing number is 8 squared. And the 8 comes from 16 over 2, which is 8, okay? So when we do that, what we get? We get a perfect square, which is what? Which is x here and plus 8 here, which is a half of plus 16, okay? And you can check your answer. What is x plus 8 all squared? Check. What is x plus 8 all squared? Isn't it x plus 8 times x plus 8?
Yeah.
Isn't it x
Yeah.
squared plus 8x plus
Plus
8x plus 64? Isn't it x squared plus 16x plus
Plus-
64? Okay, so you see 64, it was the missing number, okay? So to complete, let me write it down here, the rule. To complete x squared plus bx to a perfect square what we do, add the half of b square. Add the half of b square, right? Always, and we have to add, you don't subtract, you always have to add the half of b squared. All right? So let me give you these examples right here and complete them to perfect square. All of them right here. X squared plus 10x. What is the missing number? And then after you get the missing number, what is a square?
25?
No. Just
25?
do it, everybody do it by yourself, everybody, please. So we're gonna try to see if everybody will be able to do it right here. And then what you get. And now what you get. You know, I just feel like, you know, one good minute for everybody to try to see what numbers we have to add. All right. So what is the first box? What is the first number we have to add to get a perfect square?
5
5 what?
square.
5 square, right? So we have to add 25, right?
Mhm.
If we add 25, what square we get on the right side?
X plus 5.
X plus 5, all squared, right? What is the missing second number?
7.
Everybody.
Negative
Seven
7
Negative
squared.
7.
Negative 7 squared, which is how much?
Negative
49.
45.
Positive
49, right? And then we get what? What square we get on the right side?
I think x minus 6.
X
minus
minus
x minus
7.
7.
whole square, right? Thank you. Okay, now the last two ones. What is the missing number in the next one?
-1.
You see, you have to, what number you have to add here? We add
-1.
-1 or positive one? You know, you have to
Positive.
add
+1.
positive one, right? And what square we get?
1.
X minus 1.
X minus, yeah.
X minus 1 whole squared. Now comes the last one.
Half.
What now?
1/2. 1/2.
But you have to tell me exactly what number to add. Is it 1/2 or what?
No, 1/4.
It's just
1/2?
It's -1/2 and
What you have to
square,
do to it?
so it will be
You have
1
to square it.
Oh,
over
1/4.
1/4.
You have to square, always, don't forget, you always have to square that number, okay? The half of 1, the 1/2 come from the number, the invisible one, the number that, the one that we don't see, which is here. 1/2 is 1/2, and this is 1/4, right? It's come from what? It's come from 1/2 squared, right?
Mhm.
And it's gonna be x plus 1/2, you see?
Yes.
Whole square. Okay, that is just how to complete the perfect square. Now let's see a example. Again, we will not do a lot of example in here. We're just going to do like one example that to show you. Solve by completing the square. Solve by completing the square. X squared minus 12x, right? Minus 3 equals 0, right? All right. So sometimes you can mute yourself if you know, have some noise going on. So right here, solve by completing the square. Of course, here, when you look at very quickly, we notice that the factoring will it work here, the factoring, you think? The factoring will not work, right? It's
No,
not
I
easy
don't
to
think it'll
factor.
work.
Yes. So the completing the square here works good. Basically, I have to get one square out. I have to get a perfect square out of this. What I do first? First, I move the 3 out. This 3, move it here. So add 3, add 3. So I get x squared minus 12x is equal to 3. Look now. Now I need to add one number that's going to make it a perfect square. And we did a lot of examples before, right?
Mhm.
What is that number we need to add?
36.
36, right?
Yes.
Now we need to add 36 to make it a perfect square.
Mhm.
So I put x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 3.
Yes.
If I just write this, how am I wrong here? Can somebody tell me how am I wrong?
Because this it's not equal 3.
You didn't add 36 to both sides.
Exactly. Okay, both of you, all of you notice that I have to add 36 on both sides. Okay, you see now, because me adding 36, it becomes a perfect square, right?
Question.
Which is x minus 6 all square is equal to 39, right?
So I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Why don't we do that in last steps in all the questions? Why just we added here
Why we just add?
the 36 here? So the last questions we didn't add the square in both
Oh,
sides.
no, because the last question we didn't have both sides. We just have one side here.
We just have
This was not an
equals 0.
equation. This was not an equation. No, this is not an equation. This is just an expression. You see, we were practicing how to compute a perfect square. What you see here, x squared plus 10x is not an equation. When we say something is an equation, when we have what?
We have to add both sides.
No. When do we say something is actually an equation?
When
When
it's
we have-
equal.
Exactly. When equal, we have one side, we have left side, right side. Okay.
Yes.
Exactly. And every time you have an equation, whatever you do to one side, it's all about fairness. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the
I
other
have a
side.
question.
Yes.
We got 36 because 3 and 12 can go into 30. They each can go into 36.
No, the 36 come from what? What is the rule? What is half of 12?
Oh, half of 12.
Six.
Okay, sorry.
And then you square
Yeah,
that. Yes.
okay.
Yes. That is where the 36 come from. And now we're almost done, right? Remember the last hour we've been practicing this. What should you do next now? And then you are
square
done.
root of both sides.
Square root. What you don't forget every time you do that? Plus or?
Plus or minus.
Exactly. So you got x minus 6 is equal to plus or minus root of 39. And then you add 6 on both sides. You get x equal to 6 plus or minus root of 39. That is what you call completing the square method. Again, why in this class we will not like practice 10 of them? Because I don't want you to take the default method. That method could be very, very unfriendly. Okay? That method right here could be very, very unfriendly. So that is why I'm just refreshing your memories, but we're going to take this quadratic formula, the method we're going to do next, as our default method. That is the method we're going to practice more, okay? That is one that we review. We do that in O83, stuff like that. I show you why this method can be very unfriendly, calculation-wise. For example, right here, if I say 7x squared plus 5x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, if you want to do completing the square method, first of all, you have to have what number in front of x squared for it to work? What number should be in front of x squared for the method to work?
1.
1, right? Do we have 1?
No.
No.
We have 7. What is the only way to make it 1?
Divided by
Fraction.
7.
Divided by 7, right? But look what happened when we divide everybody by 7. What happens?
We
What's
mix
the
it up.
numbers we get? We get what? We get x squared
Kind of confusing.
plus 5 over 7x minus 9 over 7 equals 0. These numbers are very crazy, right?
Mm.
They are fractions. You even cannot write them as decimals. They are not decimals. These are fractions, okay? 5 over 7, you cannot replace 5 over 7 with a decimal, okay? You see now, do you see now what that method can be very unfriendly? Is everybody sure?
Wait, why'd you do that?
Because I want to get 1 in this, I want to get 1 in front of x squared. If I want to apply the method, if I want to, this is an example to discourage you from always thinking about that method, right? You always think about it if you are asked to do it, okay? That is my advice. Completing the square method in general, you only think about it if you are asked to do it, right? If you are not asked to do it, you have easier methods to maneuver, okay? But just, just for the record, can somebody tell me?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for this question, would you technically use factoring by grouping to solve it?
Use what?
Factoring by grouping, I guess the AC
No, it will
method
not
or-
work because this example is so random, the factoring will not work. This is my point is, all the methods we saw so far, they are not like our default method. Our default method is going to be the quadratic formula that I'm about to do right now, okay? But just for the record, can somebody tell me what number to add here to make it a perfect square? What fraction to add? If you follow the rule,
25 over 4.
25 over,
4.
You kind of close, but not over 4. If you
49.
want, not over 49, close. What is a half? What is a half? How to get the half of a fraction? What to do to the denominator?
Oh, that would be
5 over what? What is a half of 5 over 7?
5 over 14.
5 over 14 is a half. And then you have to square that number. You see, you get 25 over 200 or 216, right?
Right.
Okay, is it a cool number? It's
No.
not a cool number. That is why completing the square method can be very hard, right? So we don't rush to it unless we are asked to do it. Okay? So what is the method? What is the main method we're going to learn in this topic right here, 163? It's what you call the quadratic formula. Okay? That is the main method, which is a method that works every single time. No worries. Quadratic formula.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we have the quadratic equations, we have to complete it to perfect square, and then after that we find the x.
Now, I mean, so my whole thing is that method completing the square, do it only if I ask you explicitly solve by completing the square, right?
Okay, if you give us a quadratic equation, we just find the x. But if you ask us to complete to perfect, we just do that.
No, if I ask you, I will not ask you to complete only. I will ask you solve by completing the square. If I ask you solve by completing the squares, you have to do the whole thing. But this is not 083, okay? Basically, I will not focus on that method, you know, I will not, you know, I will ask you on the test, I will ask you to solve a regular quadratic equation using quadratic formula, right?
Yes.
We're about to do right now. The quadratic, you know, completing the square is not a method. That is a method only that works very well if the equation is nice, okay? If the equation is not nice, it's going to ask you a lot of calculations. I don't know if people will be able to do it. So, quadratic formula. Somebody remembers the formula?
Hi, Professor. I'm so sorry I'm late.
Yeah, okay.
I just got off of work.
Okay.
So I couldn't do anything about it. There was a problem with the system and it incorrectly updated my schedule, so I couldn't do anything about it.
Okay. I understand. I
I
understand.
remember
You
the
know,
formula.
if you wanna come to my office hours, you know, we can talk about it. Okay. If you miss something or something like that. Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
just got home, so.
Okay. All right. So sorry about that. You know, of course, you know, you have a lot of technical issues with the Brightspace, Simon, stuff like that. I think some people are working very hard to solve those issues. You know, I hope, you know, they will be behind us, you know, next week or something like that. All right. So last week we had some, you know, internet issues, you know, the first half of the class, but so today is okay. So Raya, somebody remembers the quadratic formula by chance?
I remember it.
Okay, what are they? X equal what?
B plus or minus square root 4ac over 2.
You kind of remember it. Kind of. Okay, so you look. So
Oh, no. B
every
plus or
time-
minus square root of B minus 4ac over 2. There it is.
Yeah, kind of remember it. So every time you have a formula, please try to hold on to it as long as you are doing math, right? Until you are done with math, okay? So the formula comes from long calculations, which I will not show you to you. Yes, Elijah, you have a question?
I was going to say what the quadratic formula was.
Okay, what was it? Do you remember it?
It's written as minus b, but it's the opposite of whatever b is. Plus or minus the square root of, I believe it's B squared times minus 4 times A times C over 2A.
Yeah, okay. You see, that you remember it very well.
Can you write that on the screen?
I'm gonna write it down. So the equation, and this formula is meant for memorizing. You have to memorize it. The equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 has root solutions or roots. What are they? Is x equal the opposite of b, which is negative b, right? Plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Again, please, everybody try to memorize this. You know, on the test, you cannot use notes in the test, right? Because you cannot use notes, you have to remember that formula right there. Okay? And the very first thing we see, these solutions, we get them when the equation is set to 0. Okay? They're only valid if the original equation is already set to 0. If it is not set to 0, you have to set it to 0, right? Okay, so again, I don't want to confuse you to show you where they come from. In mathematics, everything that you write comes from somewhere. I could show you, it's going to take me like 20 minutes to show you where they come from, but it's going to confuse a lot of people, okay? So we're trying to learn them. We're trying to learn how to maneuver them, okay? So, for instance, we say solve by the quadratic formula. 5x squared plus 4x equal 9. Okay, so look. Am I ready to say who is A, who is B, who is C yet? Am I ready? What we have to have on one side?
0.
0.
Exactly.
You would subtract
Which side do we have to have 0 on? Is that important?
The
No.
It's
No,
important.
it's not, right? It doesn't matter which side you have 0 on. You have to have 0 on one side. Of course, right here, the common sense says, which number we have to move here is the common sense? Set to 0, right? So the common sense here says to move the 9, right? So we're going to move the 9, so we get 5x squared plus 4x minus 9 equal what?
0.
Now we can say who is A? A is how much?
5,
B is how much?
4,
And C is
minus 9.
minus 9. If somebody knows the formula, you just plug in the numbers. That's it. That's why in science, in general, not only math, in science, knowing the formula is very, very important, right? If you know the formula, you just plug in the numbers, right? So it's going to be x equal to what? Negative what? Negative b. B is 4, so negative 4 plus or minus
square root
Square.
of 4 squared minus
Minus.
4 times 5 times negative 9
Uh-huh.
over 2 times 5.
Over 5.
2 times 5.
Oh,
Okay, tell me, you are grading my paper now. So what you gonna give me in my formula? Do you say it's right or wrong? You are grading my paper. Is my formula right or wrong?
Right.
It looks right.
I mean, your formula's right.
So you're gonna give me my grades, right? What's wrong with my formula? Tell me. There is something wrong in it. You have to tell me.
Minus under the root.
You see, I did that because a lot of students do that mistake. Look at the fraction bar. It's supposed to be all over. You see?
Yeah, the fraction bar isn't under the 4, the negative 4.
Exactly. It's supposed to be all over. If you write it this way, you are wrong. It's all over. Okay, please do not only divide the radical. You have to divide everything by 2 times 5. Okay, so this is going to be negative 4. Now I do my math now, plus or minus square root. You know, I have to do my calculator. This is 16 right here. This is plus what? This is the 2 minuses combined to plus, right? Plus 180. Okay, this is 196 all over 10. Now, is 196 a perfect square? What is the squares of 196?
It's either 13 or 14, I think.
I think it's
I thought it
14,
was
right?
16.
It says 14.
No, 16. Is it? No, it's 14. By the way.
14.
So, but you see here, I said here, 14 square is not 216. Is 196. Okay. My bad. So this is 196. So this is, you see, if the square root is a nice one, then you continue. If the square root is not a nice one, you can stop right here, okay?
Yes.
So it's gonna be negative 4 plus or minus 14 all over 10. So what are the two numbers? They are negative 4 plus 14 over 10 and negative 4 minus 14 over 10. So the first number is?
You can reduce the 4 to 2, and you can
1.
reduce the 10 to 5, and then the 14 to 7. Because 2 goes into all of them evenly.
Yeah, exactly. And here, this is negative 24 divided by 10, which is negative 12 over 5. I mean, negative 18 divided by 12 is negative 9 over 5. So my two solutions are 1 and negative 9 over 5. That are my two, these are my two solutions. That is what you call the quadratic formula. So, all right. So I'm going to give you one here to do, and it's gonna we're gonna obviously, I'm going to call the names, by the way. So today, so solve. X squared minus 4x equals 0, right?
Is it like this or by completing to perfect square?
No, quadratic formula. You know, we'll forget about completing the square, quadratic formula here. We are practicing quadratic formula, right?
Okay.
And x squared equal to x plus 1, quadratic formula, everybody. So I'm gonna try to call the names. You're gonna tell me if I pronounce your name wrong. Michael?
No, that's right. Mhm.
Michael. Elijah?
That was correct.
Jake? Is Jake here?
Repeat again, please.
Jake Bando?
No.
It's not Jake, okay. Telia? Is Telia here? Telia Chapman? Rose?
Here.
Kevin,
Here.
Zainab,
Here.
Here.
William, William. No. Carlos. Carlos. Carlton,
Oh, here.
Sharif,
Yeah, I'm here.
Laura,
Here.
she or shy,
Here. She. Yeah.
she, okay. Noble,
Here, that's correct.
Paige, Paige, Robin,
Here.
Laura, Laura Fan, Courtney,
Here.
Okay. Samia, Samia, Sabir, Destiny,
Here.
Cianis, Sims, Kylie,
Here.
Sunita,
B plus or minus b
Okay.
squared, the square root of b squared plus 4ac divided by 2a.
Sequana,
Here, Shakina.
Shakina, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Catherine,
Here.
Blade,
Here.
Ghalia,
Yes.
all right, okay. Max Taylor,
Here.
okay. All right. If you haven't heard about your name, you can always write me in the chat. All right, so right here, what is A? The first one, what is A, what is B, what is C?
A is 1.
A
B
is
is
1,
-4,
yeah.
B -4.
B is -4, and C is?
7.
7.
So we get, so you see here we have equal 0, right? So we get X equal to negative B, which is -4, right? Plus or minus square root of B squared, which is -4 squared. You see, I bet a lot of people will write it this way. What do you forget every time you square a negative number?
Plus or minus.
No, when you square the negative number here, what you have to put around that number?
Oh,
Parentheses.
Parentheses, exactly. Especially when you are using a calculator, remember? Okay, -4 times 1 times 7 all over 2 times 1. That's going to be 4 here, plus or minus. This is 16 minus 28, which is
Minus
-12, right?
Yes.
Negative
So
12.
Over
square tool by.
right here. Can we stop right here as our final answer?
No.
No,
No,
we can't.
because we have a negative number right there inside the
Yeah.
parentheses. I'm not even talking about the simplifications yet. I'm talking about You have to write 4 plus or minus I square root of 12 over 2. Now, if you decide here, if you decide to simplify, you have to do it correctly, okay? If you are not sure, I'm not asking you to simplify explicitly in the direction of the test, and you are not sure, please don't simplify it. Don't make it something right wrong, okay? What is the correct way to simplify this?
2I square 3.
Exactly, thank you, Ahmed. So because the correct way to simplify this is to write 12 as what? As 4 times 3, right?
Yes.
And then you write square root of 12 is 2 squares of 3. So then you have 4 plus or minus 2I squares of 3 divided by 2. Now you can simplify by 2. Now you can do this 2 goes away, this 2 goes away, this 2 goes. It might be 2 plus or minus I root of 3. You see, if you are not sure about that, stop right here. I give you the credit, okay? All right, do we agree with that? Okay, for this one, you see, this one, the numbers are smaller numbers, but we do more mistakes with this type of example than the other ones, okay? Okay, so we have to have 0 on one side. Do we move the x square or do you move the other ones? Or does it really matter?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right? You know me, because like I don't know how long I'm doing math, you know, I'm doing the same way. So I move this here. You ask me why, I even don't know why. I just do it, okay? So x squared, because it doesn't matter, x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0, okay? So A is how much? B is how much? Negative 1. And C is how much?
Negative
1. So it's going to be x equal to negative 1 plus or minus square root of
1 square
minus 1 square minus 4 times 1 times negative 1 all over 2 times
2 times 1.
Exactly. And you can see here is 1 plus or minus square root of, this is 1 plus 4, which is 5, all over 2. Please avoid mistakes when you take care of the number inside the parentheses. Avoid mistakes. You have a lot of mistake from that number, okay? So when you come back Thursday, of course, we are done with quadratic formulas, right? So we're gonna see some other type of equations, absolute value equations, etc., inequalities. You know, we're gonna do that when you come back Thursday. It's very important when we do the absolute value of equations or inequalities. It's very important to be here. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, please make me sure we don't already have assignment.
No, you do. You see, when you go to the homework assignments, when you go to your classroom, right? You go to content, and you click on Alex. It's going to prompt you to add your name. Okay. Everybody, I guess, you know. Let me see how many people I have in my Alex, on the Alex. I think most of you did that. Okay, I have 25 people. Maybe all of you did that. I don't know. You see, but if you don't have your name here. If you don't have your name here, you have to add. It's very easy because CCBC took the option, what they call the first day. This means the Alex tuition was added. I mean, the Alex cost, the discounted Alex cost, it was discounted, you know, for sure, was added into your tuition bill. So you don't have to worry about paying Alex otherwise. You just go here in the content. When you go to your Brightspace, you go to the content, you see the Alex link here, you click on it, it's gonna ask you, it's gonna go with you over steps if you have an Alex account or if you don't have an Alex account. If you do have an Alex account, you just add this class. Then you are enrolled. When you are enrolled, you go to assign, you have to do the knowledge check. Okay, it is very annoying, but the knowledge check, you don't have to have it 100%. Matter of fact, you don't have to have the answers. They just, Alex, the system just want to check where you at. That's it. If you don't know, you say you don't know. Until it's gonna unlock the assignment that you see here. You see? It's gonna unlock this assignment. These are the assignment right here. So you have until the 12th to do the first 1.1 to 1.2. You have until the 12th and then the 25. Please try to do that. You know, Alex count for 10% of the grade. It's very important, okay? All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you, no, see you
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, see you Thursday.
Sorry.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Professor.
Really see you first.
Wait,
Alright,
is
thank you.
is school out on Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Office hours, you mean?
No, I just mean like I thought we were supposed to meet like Tuesday and Thursday.
No, we have Tuesday and Thursdays. We have 2 days for this class, Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys, see you Thursday then.
So I updated my schedule in the system so that way it should I shouldn't have this issue again.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Thanks.
Have a great.
Thank you. Thanks, bye. Laura?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you present. Yeah, I got you.
You have coach class tomorrow, right?
If I have what?
Like the coach class tomorrow, or is that? I didn't know the days.
No, the other day is Thursday.
Thursday.
We're gonna meet.
Okay.
We're gonna meet again Thursday, same time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.